Hey guys, Tracy here from USAKnifemaker. Today we're going to show you a quick how-to on how to put together our new modders liner lock. We're calling it a modder kit because it's easy to modify on the scales and get it just how you look. We'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back, thanks. We've got 3 different blade versions of this kit. It's probably the best kit I've seen come out of China. I'm really surprised at it, pleased with it. We specified 440C, good knife steel, world's most popular knife steel maybe. And we have the blade in 3 different finishes. We've got it in a satin, a black oxide, and a stone wash. Now these come with G10 scales. They're textured and milled. And the modder part of this is you could take these off, use them for a pattern, and replace those scales with just about anything you want. So we're going to do a quick walkthrough on how to put one of these together. It takes literally one tool, a T6. All of these screws take a T6. Now we'll also use a couple pair of pliers just to tighten up the double-sided thumb stud. But the whole process takes about 10 minutes to put together. I'll show you some of the mechanics on that. And let's go ahead and put one together here and see how it goes. Got a box here, and this is what you're going to get. You're not going to get instructions because you're watching this. So the blade's going to come in a sleeve. It's got a little safety tip. You can set that off to the side. Try not to cut yourself. They are sharp. So we got there. We've got 2 liners. We've got the clip. And now these scales have a little machine oil on, just a little rub. When you're putting one of these things together, put it together over a cloth and keep your work low, because when you drop this on a hard surface, any of these small parts are going to bounce. You're going to spend a half an hour looking for the darn thing, and then you're going to call us and say you can't find it. And it'd be easier if you just did it over a piece of paper. That it softens the bounce and you don't lose them. First thing you want to do is sort out your parts. So we got the double-sided thumb stud there, and that we'll put that on last along with the clip. Now we've got 3 button head screws. They're the same length, and let's see if we can show you a button head and a flat head. And again, they're both T6, button head, flat head, and just sort those out. You've got 6 flat head screws. Put the button head screws with the clip. So we got those sorted. 6 flathead screws. Got a couple nylon washers. Put those right there. Now you've got 3 standoffs. They're shouldered with the boss, and they'll fit in these holes here. Now if you see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 holes in here. This bigger hole here is for a lanyard, for paracord, or whatever you want to do on that. So we'll start with getting your liner up there. When you're holding the liner upside down like this, that's how you're going to open and close it. So just orient your liners there. Got that in your hand. Match up the scale with it. So now we've got the scale matched. Now if you look at this pivot close, you'll see that it's a D shape, and that will stop that from rotating. It's just a smooth dome on the other side, and that only goes in one way into the scale and into the liner. So pivots in. Now what we're going to do is it's a little easier and a little faster to take that screw, put it on the back. These are the flathead screws, and then just get it finger tight started for the stop pin, which is this first one, which is exactly the same as the standoff. So put another screw in here. So we'll screw this one on. Get that boss inside the hole. So we've got the 3 standoffs just finger tight on that side, on the lock bar side. Now we'll drop a washer onto that pivot. Now we're just going to drop this blade just loosely, and don't try and engage it because that makes it more difficult. So we'll just set that on top loose like that. Now as these work, we'll just go through the mechanics of them. If you look at this, let me pull this off and show you. there's a little detente ball in there. It's pressed in there. It's hardened steel in there, and they drill a hole, press that in, and that sits proud of that surface of the lock bar. And so when the blade closes and it pivots around this way, that little ball bearing is going to fit right in that hole, and that's what keeps the blade closed. That's a detente ball, and there's different ways to do that, but you'll see that when that blade closes, that little detente ball, and you can watch it when you get one in your hand, and you can actually feel it shut and close right onto there. So that's what keeps the blade closed. Okay, we've got that washer on. We've got that D pivot in there, and that won't spin in a slot. It'll only turn so far, so when we tighten the front of the pivot, that'll hold it. We'll put that blade on top. We've got the standoffs there. Put the other washer on that I just forgot and had to go back and put back on. So we'll put that liner on there, put that on. We'll put the scale on, get it all lined up, and we'll use this Calavera Cutlery little T6 Torx drive. It uses 1/4-inch drive bits. Feels just great. It's just a nice little tool. And we'll tighten up these 3 flathead screws and put the pivot on. Then we'll put the clip on in the thumb studs, go through, tighten it up a little bit, and we're basically done. We can get these together in about 5 minutes, and apparently 10 minutes if you talk. So this stud, this pivot rather, wasn't quite what we originally specified. We had asked for a Torx drive to be right in this middle where there's you see a dome slot on there, so that this ends up as a spanner type Torx, which isn't a deal breaker. You can tighten it up real easy. We're getting some other pivots, and so by the time you see this video, you may get 2 pivots in your knife. You may get 1. If you want the other one, that's fine too. We'll start when we get the replacements in. We'll ship them with both, so you'll have a choice. But it's really trivial to get this tightened up. So basically, once you get it finger tight, get as far as you can. Then just without scratching it up, use that little Torx drive and spin that pivot tight a little bit at a time, and it'll tighten up just fine and hold. So that's it. Now we'll flip it over, and you'll see that there's an outline milled in here to recess the clip. Now this clip has 3 buttonholes, and put in the screws loose, so it'll find, these are all threaded of course, but I have found putting a few of these together that it's easier to put it together loose and then go back and tighten it up rather than putting one screw in, tighten it all the way, put in another screw and tighten it. So we're going to start with getting all 3 fitted. And they're not screwed in all the way. We just want to get all 3 started, and then we'll come back and tighten it up. Again, you're engaging 3 or 4 threads. You can really man up and strip these out in a hurry, and then you'll be mad at us, and everyone will be upset and all that. These are small screws. If you've never put together one of these knives like this, it's an unfortunate way to learn, expensive way to learn. So less is more on that, and then tighten it up later on. If you're going to put Loctite on these things, and you can, what you want to do is just dip it with a toothpick, rub a little bit on your threads, and then put it together. Don't put a big drop in there, it gets all messy. Just put a little on a toothpick, rub it on a couple threads, and then screw it all together, and you'll be just fine. Whether you use permanent Loctite or removable, that's up to you. Now most liner locks need a little break-in time, and they'll move. So here we are putting a thumb stud on. It's 2-sided. Should have showed that. One's threaded, one's male, female. So it doesn't matter which way you go in. There's a little boss on there, and it will fit in the blade hole perfectly. Just get it on there and tighten. Now what I found is these are hard. These little buggers are hard to tighten down. So without marking it, maybe you want to use a little piece of paper to kind of protect this or something like that, but I'm just going to give that just a little twist because your finger slip. So that's really it. 2 pliers, Torx, like that. Now it's going to take a couple times to snap that open. This is a really, really early engagement. By that I mean this lock bar is really on this side of the blade. Now a late engagement would be that lock bar would slide all the way over. And the purpose of this is as this knife breaks in and wears in, this lock bar will move over on that slanted blade face, lock face, that's slanted, something like that. And what will happen is this lock bar will continue to move over, travel over, and lock up later and later as the knife wears. Now, give the knife a couple days. You can snap this one open pretty good. Now, if that early lockup, this is really an early lockup, it's barely half engaged there. If that bothers you, taking just a little bit of sandpaper on that lock face, on the lock bar, and just take a little bit off, and I mean just a little, maybe a thou or two, and you can get that to engage a little bit more. You're taking some of the life out of the knife, but you know that's just the way it is. If you feel better about that, and you'll get a firmer lockup. So we're going to go through, give it one last tightening up. And that's really all there is to it. This thing can get put together in minutes. You've got a really nice quality liner lock. The scales you can change out. You can use those as a pattern. You can use the whole knife as a pattern because it works really well. And there you have it. The MKS liner lock modern knife kit. We'll see you on Knife Dogs. We'll see you at USA Knife Maker. We appreciate your business. Thanks. Have a good one. Hey, one last thing. Let's talk just a little bit about T6 drivers. Some guys don't have them. They're pretty cool. The reason so many knife makers use Torx drive is because of the 6 lobe on there, and the screws heads handle repeatedly going in and out and last longer. So we've got a lot of different options. If you don't have a T6 to assemble this kit, we sell them dirt cheap. Now here's a long little Weehaw tool, L key these are called, makes a little L. Here's a short L key. Now these are $1 or $2, almost nothing to them. Here's one that's got a little flag on it, and I wrote a 6 on there. It's out of my toolkit so I can see what it is. Then we've got little 1/4-inch drivers that you can put in if you've got a little socket screwdriver thing. You can get different 1/4-inch drives for T6. Then I was using this little Calvera cutlery thing. This guy got a hold of us and asked if we wanted to list these, and I said absolutely, because he sent a sample. Love great tools. It's fully machined. This swivel ball rotates, so it just fits great in the palm of your hand. It feels substantial. Comes with several different torques. Now this little thing's $40, but it's an heirloom tool and it'll last you for a long time. If you need to, you can change out the drivers or get different bit drivers. So if you like a quality tool that feels good, look at this one. Otherwise, $1 or $2, you can get one of these little L keys and you always have it. So when you're using your knife, they'll loosen up. Expect them to loosen up a couple times, you know, after a little bit of use. Tighten it back up, and then after that you're going to find that they stop moving quite as often. And so keep one of these little things handy. Give your knife a tune-up every now and then. Now you can drop in just a touch of oil, and less oil is better. Just the less oil is better on these things, but you will feel a difference when you get that on there. Again, thanks. We'll see you later. So I see I missed the washer. I'll have to get that back in. We'll do that in a second. And I guess, darn it. Alright, so you're going to have to edit that. Hey guys, start again. Okay. Hey guys, Tracy here.